Hi everybody, it's Anne from Annalise Creates, Annalise Creations. I'm here to do an altered playing card for my junk journal, and I had already gessoed it with DecoArt gesso. So enjoy the process. I'm going to be narrating through this. The reason why I'm narrating is because sometimes I like to listen to music while I'm creating, and this was one particular day I wanted to, and so YouTube has the copyright infringement thing that will pop up if there's any music in the background that YouTube recognizes. So yeah, so anyhow, I was using, as you saw in the beginning, Tim Holtz's Distress sprays, and it's in the photo vintage color, and I wasn't quite liking the way I was putting it on in the beginning. I was spraying it onto the wax paper and then using my finger, and it didn't quite work very well, so I took a baby wipe and was wiping over and kind of blotting a little bit of it onto the card. Then I decided that wasn't working, so I started spraying directly onto the card and then kind of spreading around with the baby wipe. I guess sometimes when things don't work out, you gotta just keep trying and trying. So that's what I was doing with this card till I got the effect that I wanted. And by the time I was done, I had ink all over my hands. Yeah, it was a messy project. And I'm still wiping. Then I got this vintage, it's like a score sheet for card games. So I was going to put it down with my decoupage matte medium, and because the mouth of the bottle is so small, I transferred it to a smaller container with a wider mouth. And so that's what I'm using to put this score sheet down that I wanted to use. I find a lot of my ephemera and things like that from antique shops. Sometimes I get them in Happy Mail, but most of the time I get them from antique shops. When my husband and I go traveling, one of my goals is to visit an antique shop wherever we go, and I often find some cool goodies for good prices, not too expensive. So I'm using a gift card or old credit card to scrape it down, trying to get it to lay flat. And I was having issues. It kept wanting to bubble up on me, even though I had placed the decoupage onto the card as well as onto the back of the score sheet. But it still was wanting to buckle up on me. That's what I'm discovering with the decoupage from DecoArts, that it still tends to buckle, even when you're scraping to try to get it to lay flat. I was struggling with that. I finally did manage to get it to lay flat, and I had let it air dry on its own, and as you can see, I came back in, and now I'm digging through stuff on my craft table, and I had found this bit that I had cut out of I think it was an advertisement of some sort, and so I'm placing that down too, using the decoupage medium from DecoArt. And this piece seemed to go down flat compared to the other piece I was struggling with the whole time. This one actually laid flat without buckling or bubbling, getting air bubbles or anything in it that I didn't have to use my gift card or credit card to smooth out the wrinkles or anything like that. And then I guess I was gathering some things to decide what to do next. I kind of had an idea of where I was going, but of course I wasn't prepared. So yeah, so as you can see, yeah, so now I've decided I'm going to take a handmade stamp that I've carved myself, and I'm deciding to ink some of that, put it down for the background. And I'm trying to make sure I get a good stamp from this. And it worked out really well. And I was beginning to get impatient, so I did take out my heat gun to speed up the process. And now I'm placing down some washi tape. And of course, the washi tape stuck to the lady that I'm intending on putting down, that I had fussy cut out. You see her in the background. And yeah, it kind of, the washi tape that I was trying to use got stuck to her. Luckily it didn't tear her up. So yeah. And the particular lady I fussy cut out, I think I got her from one of my clip art programs that I have. So I'm kind of deciding where I'm going to place her, but then I guess I sort of changed my mind or something, and I was collecting more stuff. Yeah, I was going to use these adhesive lace ribbon that you see, and then I guess in the end I decided I wasn't going to go with that. You'll see in a minute what I decided to go with. And I'm sorry for all the little pauses in between while I'm collecting things. Yeah. So I decided I was going to use this sheet. It's like a lace, silver lace, like sticker that somebody had sent me in some Happy Mail a while back, and so I decided I was going to use one of those on this piece. And then after I put that down, I finally am going to glue on the girl. Or the lady, I should say. So I'm just kind of smoothing her out with my fingers to make sure she's going down flat. And then I'm adding some more decoupage over the top of her to seal her in. And I forgot to mention that when I did prep this playing card, I did take a piece of sandpaper and I lightly sanded it down so that the gesso would stick to it better, so that to make sure that nothing would peel off later on. Yeah, so that's why I didn't show that process. It would just have taken a little bit too long, but I did use a piece of sandpaper and kind of sanded it down, the card, roughed it up a little bit so that things would adhere better to it. Now I took my Stabilo all pencil and I'm just outlining the lady to make her pop a little bit more on the page. The camera's not picking it up since her hat is black, but in a closer up, you can see her better, the outline better when you on a close-up, which you will see later on. Now I'm going in and outlining the doily also to give it a little more depth on the card. And you will see this card in a future video on my junk journal. I plan on using this in my junk journal. And next I'm using a piece of ribbon that had an adhesive backing to it, but unfortunately the adhesive came off and stuck to the backing of the ribbon, so instead I ended up having to use my E6000 glue to glue it on. And in the meantime I picked out it was a fortune from a fortune cookie. It really wasn't a fortune, it was more like a saying or a, yeah. So I decided I was going to use that because I kind of liked what it said on it, because it was kind of true regarding me, and you'll see what the saying says later on in this video. So I am gluing down the ribbon, and I left the end hanging. That you'll see me trim it later on down the line. I decided I was going to let it, initially I was going to cut it, but it was moving around because the glue wasn't dry, so I decided I would just wait and let the glue dry first before I trim it. And then of course another big pause because I went to gather a tin where I keep my stamps. I have all these vintage stamps that I've received in Happy Mail, as well as I found some in some antique shops, and so I'm digging through to find one that's will work in this on this card. So I'm just looking at a few ideas, and I finally ended up picking one from Australia that has Queen Elizabeth II on it, since they are part of what they call the Commonwealth. Queen Elizabeth is on there, some other stamps. So this was a vintage one, I believe. So I'm gluing it on. And next I'm taking my saying and I'm going to glue that down. And I'm sorry for the noise you might be hearing in the background. My son is home and he gets my dogs all riled up, and you may end up hearing some barking in the background. I apologize ahead of time for all the noise. So next I'm outlining the saying with my Stabilo All pencil. Yeah, he's got the day off today from work and he gets my dogs all riled up. So you may hear some noise in the background of him playing with the dogs and stuff. You'd think that at age 20 he would grow up. No, hasn't happened yet. Okay, so I'm going into my bin where I keep some of my gems that have adhesive on the back. So I went ahead and used one of them on in the middle of that doily sticker that I had. And next, my camera skills still have a little bit to be desired. This next segment that you're going to see is I got a lace sticker that I got at Daiso Japan, and I'm going to go ahead and adhere it to the bottom part of the card. But as I'm doing it, you're not going to see the whole thing because I wasn't making sure that I was in the camera, the view of the camera. So half of it is off camera, and like you see there, I'm trimming the ribbon off, but you don't see me doing that because I wasn't paying attention at the time to make sure that I was in camera view. So please excuse the terrible camera angle, or however you would call it. Yeah, so you see I trimmed the ribbon down. And next that's when I'm deciding to get the lace sticker thingy. You'll see in a minute what it looks like. It's almost kind of like washi tape, but it's lace. It's really pretty. And you'll see that in a minute once I dig through all my tapes and washi tapes to find it. So I probably should have edited this section out, but I didn't, because this is my second go around with the narration on this. It wasn't quite working right when I uploaded the video to YouTube. It wasn't cooperating. For some reason it would upload, but then during the process part of the video that it processes to YouTube, it wasn't working out. And as you can see, I stuck some of the excess that I cut off onto my drop paper that I use. Because I trimmed it down just to add kind of a lace bottom, so I figured I wouldn't waste that, and I stuck it to my drop paper, which I use for different things. And next I think I was deciding what should I do next, what should I add to the bottom, and in the end I decided to add some more little red gems at the bottom to tie in the gem that's in the middle of the doily. That's what I decided to do. So you'll see me doing that in a minute here. And again, I didn't make sure that the card was within the camera view, so I'm sorry, I apologize for that. Eventually I will get the hang of all of this. I still have yet a lot of practice. So I'm placing down the gems, which you don't see on camera. Now you kind of see a little bit of it, and I'm kind of touching up around the saying with my Stabilo oil pencil. And that's it for this card. So I hope you enjoyed the process and the narration, and have a wonderful rest of the week, and I'll see you next time. Bye! Thank you for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like what you see, please throw me a like and or subscribe to my channel. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of the week. Ciao, au revoir, adios, bye, toodles, see ya.